just going to be taking a look at some news on Seeking Alpha. Big thing that happened last night was Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live, and I don't really follow Dogecoin, really, just because I think it's a joke, but a lot of people are making a lot of money off of it, and it's more of a social art play than any real, fundamentals are used behind it. But it's had a pretty rough time in the past 24 hours or so. Looks like it was 74 cents or so going into the Saturday Night Live episode. And then, I didn't watch it, to be honest, but it sounds like Elon Musk went on and they had him playing someone called the Doge Father, play on The Godfather. And I think he's calling it a hustle. And overall, people were not happy with his appearance because everyone was thinking that he was going to pump the coin. So it tanked right after he showed up. I don't think it's down this bad anymore, but at one point it was down 46%, which is nuts. I think it's back up to 53 or 54 cents now, but I just think it's nuts. The market cap of Dogecoin, bigger than so many other established companies with profit. Kind of hard for me to wrap my head around. I get the use case for Bitcoin and Ethereum a lot more. I do have a decent amount of Bitcoin that I've had for the past 2 years or so, that I keep in just a hardware wallet. I haven't really touched it. I don't have any Ethereum, although Ethereum's cool too. I used to have Ethereum and then I consolidated it all into Bitcoin. But you have to forgive me, it's a little slow here because I'm using my my paywall bypass Chrome extension, since I don't have a Seeking Alpha subscription. I've been thinking about signing up for one of their contributor accounts because I heard you do have to actually contribute articles. I don't know how much work that would be because most of them are pretty long on Seeking Alpha, to be honest, but you get a free premium account if you're a contributor, so it's honestly not a bad proposition. Let's go to latest news. Overall, it was kind of a down week in the market this past week. Most of my account, as I talked about in the last video, is a lot more tailored back in VTI, some dividend and REIT stocks. But I do have a little chunk of my M1 pie in more speculative stuff like Palantir, Enphase, Tesla, Lemonade, Elastic. Those type of companies were down anywhere from 5 to 8% last week. Didn't really hit me that hard, but definitely wasn't fun to see. I also think Elon Musk is planning on launching a satellite in 2022, and they paid for all of the parts and the services in Dogecoin, which is kind of odd to me because it seems like a lot of work for nothing, and what vendor agreed to accept Dogecoin. So I feel it's just some sort of ploy. Didn't actually happen. It's some loophole, but I don't understand his fascination with it. I think he just cracks him up. Some people are speculating that he owns a huge chunk of Dogecoin because there is one massive wallet that owns 15-20% of the entire Dogecoin supply. And some people think it's Robinhood, some people think it's Musk. I have no idea, but if that was the case, that could be why he's pumping it. A lot of these are no-name companies. I don't get why everyone's hating on Facebook lately. There was this new Apple update where it's going to ask people if they want to allow cross-tracking, on the iPhone. And supposedly it's just gonna like completely ruin Facebook's business model, but I think it's just a gross overreaction. You know, they've seen this coming for a long time, and I think a lot of their revenue and a lot of their ads could still do well, even if they're not allowed to track users across different apps, because it's not necessarily going to affect the number of active users. So, like, how effective their targeting is might decrease slightly, which could hurt like the CPM rates that advertisers pay for like per impression. But overall, I don't think it's going to be a huge dampener on their business. They're talking right now about waiving the intellectual property rights for the COVID vaccine. So they're typically, when a pharma company releases a drug, as long as they filed the necessary patents for it, I believe they get like a 7-year window where they're the only one that can make it. And then after that point in time, generics and other competitors can come out and try to reproduce the drug to take market share and bring the cost down. So Biden and his administration are toying with the idea of removing that patent protection for the COVID vaccine to allow other pharma companies to immediately begin development or production of the drug, so that we can accelerate the delivery of more doses. Personally, I don't think they should do it. These companies put a lot of money into R&D to try to discover these vaccines. They produced a lot of these trial vaccines at a loss, just on the whim that one of like their couple products would actually work. And now that it's paying off, I think as long as there's not a bottleneck in the supply chain, we should let them have a little bit of leeway and benefit from it, as long as they aren't price gouging, which they're not. We see the total number of daily vaccinations, at least in the US, has dropped off relatively fast. It was peaked around like 3.5 or 4 million a day, I think, a couple weeks back, and now we're just shy of passing below 2 million doses a day. Pretty much every state in the US is not exceeding like 90% of their doses used, which means we have like empty slots that people aren't signing up for. So, like, pretty much anyone that wants one can get one, from my understanding. You know, maybe there's some fringe cases, or you're in an area where it's like really high demand for some reason and you can't, but for the most part, it's not that crazy of a shortage anymore. So I don't see why, like, all of a sudden now they're just rolling out this IP crap, because by the time they actually like approve it, and by the time companies could actually like get on their feet and provide a vaccine, it's gonna be like 6 to 9 months from now. And by then, like, I feel like Moderna and Pfizer and J&J are gonna have so many doses out there, we're not even gonna need it. Mostly no-name stuff here, honestly. I wish there was a way to filter by more important announcements. Looks like Apple hired a Cisco veteran as a new communication head. Big whoop. Kathy Wood. She was on, I don't know what show it was the other day. She was getting interviewed somewhere, and she also does her like bi-weekly or monthly like podcast on the ARC site. And she was talking about how like she loves where the market's at, blah blah blah, because she can buy everything at a discount. I really respect her ideas, and I like what she has to say and her outlook like long term, but I think she's kind of just blowing smoke at this point. She doesn't have like any more cash to throw at this stuff. So like the ARC fund is down, like most of the ARC funds are down 15-20% year to date, whereas the S&P or like VTI is up 15% year to date. So it's like a 30% difference. And she's just in all this risky stuff, so it's not like she can just cycle out of all of it and like buy down harder. Like, she's already extended all the way. It's not like she can just add more money to the portfolio because it's a fund. So So I think she's just kind of treading water and trying to not let her name and her brand die off, because that's what they're capitalizing on. And I also think that she's trying to keep money in the fund because her company makes money based on the number of assets, or the amount of assets under management. They take a management fee and an expense ratio, a high one at that. So more people that stay in the fund, the more money she and her companions make. So I think that she's kind of trying to keep the fund in a good light so people don't have massive outflows of cash. I'm not really in too much for stuff anymore. I think I might just have ArcG at this point. Ever since I started tailoring back like a couple months ago, I kind of sold off most of her stuff. Switch is one of the data center stocks that I have in my M1 portfolio. If you guys watched my last video, looks like they're supposed to provide earnings on Monday, May 10th, which is, actually that's today. It's like 2 in the morning right now that I'm recording this. Just 'cause that's when I have time and that's when it's quiet out. So we'll see how this goes. Oddly enough, this company does pay a dividend, even though they're really small and they don't have a huge EPS. Still don't understand that, but I like their business and they have really solid growth in earnings. Looks like their revenue growth isn't projected to be too hot this quarter. I guess that's probably due to COVID still. But they're such a small sliver of my pie that I don't really typically pay attention to them. Hopefully you guys can't hear my computer in the background. I have this running in a VM. So I have like a gaming desktop, but I'm just running this on my Mac Mini right now, and obviously they aren't the most crazy hardware equipped devices, so it's heating up a little bit. It's kind of crazy like how many small companies there are out there that like you've never heard of, but are still like worth like hundreds of millions of dollars or like billions of dollars. Twitter, I've been hearing people talking about how like Twitter's done so poorly. I never invested in them. I'm not really in any social media stocks. I was in Facebook for a while. They're probably my favorite out of the social media stocks. If I had to pick one, that'd be like Snapchat, Twitter. I think there's one other that I'm blanking of. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft. So slow to load. But let's see. What's always struck me weird about Twitter is that their CEO, like Jack Dorsey, is the CEO of Square as well. Like, this man's literally running 2 companies. I don't get like how that's allowed or like acceptable, or like how that even functions on like a day-to-day basis unless he's like kind of hands off. But honestly, kind of nuts to me that that's even like a possibility. I've never heard of that anywhere else. Maybe there's other instances of it. I guess like Elon Musk runs like Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, Neuralink, Ad Astra. His kid's like School One. He like runs a lot of companies, but I don't know how active he really is in like the day-to-day of like Neuralink and like Ad Astra, and he probably spends most of his time on Tesla and SpaceX. And even then, like, he's more like a managerial role. So I guess it's not that crazy to think that like Jack Dorsey could be doing Twitter and Square. I don't know why this damn chart isn't. There we go. Yeah, like if you had bought in like right after IPO back in 2014, 2013, I guess, you'd be like flat for right now, which is like crazy to think about. That's just like kind of sad. Still not profitable either. It's just like a huge turn off for me. Like, I don't know. I don't love like the social media business, even though like I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't know. I just think it's kind of like dirty and like take advantage of their users and their data. I say that, and then I own like Google, so I'm a hypocrite, but. I do own Cloudflare, and it looks like they did really well, which is very good to hear. I have owned them since they were in the $40 range. I think I picked up my first shares at 38, and I bought on the way up. And I have no idea what they're at now because I do not really follow them on a day-to-day basis. Honestly, I've been so busy lately between school and like internships that I haven't really been following the markets as much during the day. I kind of just catch up like on the nights and the weekends. I haven't really been looking at like trade anything lately because like as I told you guys, like I just think like everything's like so highly valued right now. I don't want to be out of the market, but like I just want to just be along for the ride for now. So I'm just kind of like sitting in stuff, mostly like total market index funds. Looks like it's at $71 right now. Was up at like 80, 85 at some point, I believe. But that's awesome. Q1 sales were up 51%. Wow, that's excellent. $7 million above consensus. EPS was negative 3 cents. Not bad. Getting close to profitability here, which would be huge. 4 million customers. Gross margin 78%. That's crazy to me. I just think like cybersecurity is going to be huge going forward. I use Cloudflare for one of my websites for like DNS protection, and I know they have a lot of other services, but like I just think like these kind of companies as a whole are going to be excellent going forward. But yeah, guys, just thought I'd pop on here, look at a couple stuff, put out a little content for you guys. I'm trying to get more consistent with uploads. Hopefully once school ends in the next like 2 weeks or so, I can get more on top of like regular uploads, because I'll just be working internships during the day and I won't have school and homework to do at night. But hope you guys are doing well overall. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there, and have a good night.